Every day, she placed a letter inside a glass jar and stared out the window, waiting. But no one knew who the letters were for. In a quiet, suburban neighborhood, tucked between maple trees and fading porches, lived an old woman named Eleanor Harper. She was 84 years old, always seen wearing a faded blue cardigan, her silver hair tied neatly behind her head. Most people barely noticed her, except for the fact that she sat by her window every morning, watching the world with a soft smile, and a glass jar beside her filled with folded papers. No one ever saw her go out. No visitors. No family. Just the jar. And the letters. Next door lived a boy named Jake. He was 13, quiet, often alone. His dad had passed away 2 years ago, and ever since, Jake found comfort in drawing or riding his bike around the block. He never really spoke to Mrs. Harper. She was just the lady behind the window. Until one stormy afternoon. The wind howled through the street, and Jake saw something strange. The jar had tipped over. Papers were flying across the yard like desperate birds escaping a cage. Without thinking, Jake ran over and started picking them up. Wet, wrinkled, but carefully written. He handed them back to her. "Thank you, dear," she said gently, her voice soft like a memory. Jake glanced at one of the envelopes. All of them said the same thing. "To the ones I'll never see again." He looked up, confused. "Are these real letters?" Mrs. Harper smiled. "They are. To the ones I lost." She invited him in. The house smelled like cinnamon and old books. He sat on the couch as she poured tea neither of them drank. She told him about her husband, a firefighter who died rescuing 2 children from a burning building. Her daughter, gone in a car crash on her way home from college. Her little brother, killed in Vietnam. One by one, faces Jake had never seen became alive through her trembling words. "But writing keeps them close," she said, placing her hand over her heart. "It's how I remember, and how I hope they remember me." From that day on, Jake started visiting her every afternoon. He brought cookies his mom made, showed her his latest drawings, listened to her stories. Slowly, the old woman behind the window became his favorite part of every day. And to Eleanor, Jake was the light she thought had left her life forever. They laughed, they shared, they healed. But one morning, Jake came by, and the window was empty. No letters, no cardigan, just stillness. Mrs. Harper had passed away in her sleep. No funeral, no family to claim her, just silence. The neighbors stood in quiet sorrow. But Jake walked to her mailbox, as if drawn by something more than habit. Inside, he found a single envelope. It read, "To the boy who reminded me how to smile." He opened it with shaking hands. Inside was a letter in her graceful cursive. "Dear Jake, you gave me back something I thought I'd lost forever. Joy. You reminded me that even after a lifetime of loss, love still finds its way. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being my last letter. Love, Eleanor." Jake stood there, eyes full of tears, holding the final piece of a life that had quietly changed his own. And that day, he went home and started writing letters of his own. A true connection doesn't need a name, a title, or a bloodline. Sometimes it just needs a heart, and someone willing to listen. Write to someone today. Say what matters before the window is empty.